Hey guys and girls, it's Hannah Saber from HR Images. In today's video, I'll be reviewing the new Laowa 9mm f5.6 lens for Sony E-mount system, so stay tuned. Laowa has been producing really ultra wide angle lenses, so they've been focused a lot on their wide angle lenses as well as their macro lenses. Now, I currently own the 10 to 18mm and I absolutely love that lens. Now, I tend to only shoot at the 10mm end. I prefer ultra wide as I can get some nice perspectives. Now, as I'll be going through the video, I will be posting up image samples that will be captured with the 9mm. Now, Laowa had announced the 9mm lens, and first question I thought is that 1mm difference. You know, what is it going to differentiate between the 10 to 18 to 9mm, that sort of thing. Now, shooting with this 9mm, that 1mm does a little bit difference in terms of making the image more dramatic. I'll post up a side-by-side comparison from captured with the Laowa at 10mm and at the 9mm. They're both shot at f8. What I did find is that the Laowa 9mm, it is a wider angle lens and it emphasizes the perspective a lot more than what the 10 to 18 does. That 1mm actually I find does a bit of a difference in terms of that perspective. I do find the 9mm, however, has a little bit more vignetting opposed to the 10mm, but with me, I do love the vignetting, so it does not bother me. Also, I did find, as you can see with one of these images as well that I've posted, the 9mm is actually a bit sharper than the 10 to 18. I've always found prime lenses to be a lot more sharper than zoom lenses, because with zoom lenses, you got to find that sweet focal length where the lens is at its sharpest. One thing I wish that Laowa had done with the 9mm, unlike the 10mm, what I loved about the 10mm, it has the filter, rear filter, so you can use ND filters or whatever at the back, and that's what I loved about the Laowa 10mm. Unfortunately, the 9mm does not have that. So in order to do long exposure in that, you do have to get the filter system for it, because like the 10 to 18, this lens does have a fixed pedal on it, and because of the bulbous head, hence why the fixed pedal. So if you drop it, this will protect it. The construction is actually metal based, so it's actually very solid, and Laowa does do solid pieces of glass. If you are looking for a filter system to use for the 9mm, H&Y Magnetic Filters does a filter system specifically for the Laowa lenses. I've currently owned one for the 10 to 18, and I do have a set for the 9mm. You can't use the same one, obviously. If you can see the difference, the 10mm is actually wider than the 9mm. In terms of weight, the 9mm will be ideally, look, they're both small, they're both compact, but the 9mm is actually a lot lighter than the 10 to 18. The 10 to 18 is a little bit heavier, where the 9mm is more compact. It is smaller and it's not as wide, even though it's a wide angle lens, 9mm opposed to 10 to 18, the front element is not as wide as the 10 to 18. So it is a lot more compact, so it's great for travel as well. For me, those who have followed my social media accounts will know when I shoot with these two lenses, the perspective that you can get. Unlike the 24, 35mm or the 16 to 35, they're great lenses. You know, sometimes you just want that standard landscape shot, but for me, I've always kind of looked at it in a way where when I shoot a 24mm, which is one of my favorite lenses to use, I feel like the perspective is still the same. And I've always wanted to make a difference in my images to make them stand out and pop more. And notice when I'm shooting with an ultra wide angle lens, like the 9mm, I found that I opened my eyes up a bit more in being able to capture unique perspective, unique angles that you cannot get with a normal lens. The great thing about the 9mm and the 10 to 18, they're 15 centimeters minimum focus distance to your subject, so you can get really nice close-up shots to your subject, getting like that sort of kind of macro sort of look, and but in emphasize it and doing that perspective to that image is making it pop, giving that unique look. With all Laowa lenses, they're all manual focus. They've got the aperture button here, so, and you've got the focus ring. With the Laowa lenses, it doesn't have the contacts in the bottom to be able to record data. So you got to sort of kind of try to remember your f-stop that you use with this lens. If you ask me, a lot of my images I kind of do forget, but generally speaking, in landscapes, you kind of know that you want to shoot around the f8, f11 mark, depending on how much you want in focus. Going really close to your subject, I do find it's sharp in the center, and it does do a decently bokeh if you're doing very close up to your subjects. But once you're going down to like f5.6 onwards, you're getting really sharp on the corners, and you would have seen that earlier in the side-by-side comparison with the 10 to 18. So that's more sort of the difference, that comparing it between the Laowa 10 to 18 and the 9mm. Now they're both great lenses. It just depends on whether you want that 10 to 18 for the flexibility and that different focal lens that you can choose if you don't always want to shoot the wide angle end, or if you want that smaller, compact, bit sharper image, the 9mm. If you ask me which I would like, to be honest, I'm still sort of contemplating on what one I like, because I do love the 10 to 18, and being able to shoot at the 18mm end sometimes, it does kind of give me peace of mind. But in saying that, I do shoot more at the 10mm. It's just whether or not that 1mm extra will make a difference for me or not. But I think I'll probably end up keeping, for me, the 10 to 18. Because I already have that lens. If I didn't have that lens, I would have jumped straight for the 9mm, and it is a lens that I would highly recommend in sort of getting if you want that different perspective, different look that you can achieve with your landscapes, your cityscapes, architectural shots, different sort of shots you can do with these. Well, that leaves it up to my quick short review on the Laowa 9mm. Do check out the links below on the description. Anything purchased on those I'll be able to receive a small kickback to help support this channel to keep doing gear reviews for you guys. Make sure you do subscribe, like, share this video, and stay tuned for future videos. See you guys.